Hey guys, this is the shoot I did yesterday. This is my first time shooting with my umbrella softbox. So it's the 47-inch, it's a 47-inch umbrella softbox. And the first time shooting with my Yongnuo high-speed E-TTL triggers. So, this is my full session. I shot about 272 photos, so not a lot. Normally I shoot a little bit more, but because I was actually trying to step outside of my box and shoot differently than I normally shoot, and because I was testing, I definitely didn't shoot as much as I normally shoot. And I didn't get as many, good keeper images as I would normally like. But again, this is a trial, and it was good. It's trying to force me outside of my box and shoot differently. I will say right off the bat that, boy, is it easy once you've established a pattern and a style and you know what you're doing. It's hard to break away from that because that's so easy to go back into. You know what you're going to get, you know your results, you know you like it. And it's hard to try something different, especially when it's not working and you're not liking it. It's very hard. So I need to do this more and more. So these are the images I started out with. This is like one of the very first images, just getting light up the bat. I even had like my 50mm on my lens here, which I didn't keep on because you know me. I end up going to 85 all the time. So in this shot, or where I'm shooting, I have a big window, west-facing window, camera right. And so that's the light you see coming from the right edge of the frame. And I'm shooting at 1/400th of a second here with a 50mm at f1.8. And I'm just sort of testing light, seeing what it's looking like. At this point now, I've closed the shutter on my window. So now I've blocked out most of that light coming out from the outside, at least the direct light. The room is still a bright room. I'm not shooting in a basement, so I'm still getting a lot of ambient light, but the direct light from the camera right has been blocked. And now you can see this is a shot with the light coming from one speed light in the the softbox umbrella, 47 inches camera right. And so yeah, this is just the beginning. I have no idea what I'm doing or what the light is doing. I'm shooting on a light gray background, which I actually really like this background because when you get a light right, it really looks nice. Now the color temperature is off because normally I shoot auto white balance, and at least when I'm shooting high key white, I usually shoot auto white balance, and it's usually pretty okay. But no, to be honest, I usually do adjust my white balance when I'm in Lightroom. So right here, the white balance is like way super warm. I think I ended up going down to like 4200 or something. Yeah, you can see the change. Maybe something that I'll think about in the future, to maybe do a custom white balance setting to save that step when I'm culling. But yeah, you can see the difference. So these are all test shots as I'm going along. And these are all the ones that I didn't love. So then, yeah, the light is pretty nice. I'm going to say that I really like the light in general. So here's my selection from the shoot. I chose 79 of my favorites, and I took that down to 22 of my favorites, my photographer selects. So this is the shooting at 85mm, 125 ISO, 1/250th of a second, f1.8. Now the thing here is that what I hadn't realized during shooting was that I had, or the camera had defaulted back to the flash setting of ETTL. I kept thinking it was in manual, so I would keep setting my flash, manual, blah, 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 and then I'd take a shot, and then it would change. I'm like, what's going on? And then I realized that these triggers, because I'm so old school in my use, the old Yongnuos that I had are just basic triggers. They just flash the light. These high-speed triggers are like the full complement, where you can actually manage your flash settings from your camera. Yes! So I've come into the new age, and I can now change my flash, just like, you know, Joe McNally is like setting up his flash and doing his ratios. I don't know about ratios, but I can change my flash settings from my camera. That is amazing. That's amazeballs. However, the bad part was when I was shooting, E-TTL actually was looking great. And then every time I tried to switch to manual and then figure out the manual settings, the light sucked. So then now I don't know what my flash settings were. So I really hate that. I usually shoot in manual and I know what my flash settings are, so I can replicate that. I know exactly what it is. And I don't know if there's a way to find out. I don't think you can. It doesn't, EXFI data doesn't capture your flash settings. So I'm like, dang snappity, I don't know what it was. And I couldn't replicate it when I went to manual. So the rest of the shoot, I just kept shooting ETTL. I was like, it's working for the most part. So all that to say, this is flash camera settings 1/250th f1.8. A sidebar to that, I will have to try shooting at a higher aperture. 85 mil, I went back to the 85 mil because it's just, you know what, just a nicer lens. It's a lot sharper than my 50. My 50 is not very sharp at all, unless I stop down, which maybe when I stop down, I compare the two, I might then. But I'm going to have to do that in another trial shoot. And the light itself is, it's not 45. Normally, my setups with my softbox, my 24, is it a 24-inch softbox? Can't remember now. But my old setup with my softboxes would typically be your 45-degree light. This case, I have the light at a 90-degree angle. And if she was standing straight facing towards the camera, the light, the far right side of the umbrella would begin at her shoulder and then come back towards the camera. So in essence, the light is shooting out past in front of her face, and it would be the spread that's hitting her and hitting the background. For the most part, that's how I was trying to shoot. And then I really like how the light gray background just gets a nice, range of tones. Although I'm also realizing now that I never realized before is that 85 has a lot of vignetting in the corners. A lot of vignetting, which you can see in another couple of photos down the line. So these are, again, all shot straight out of the camera, except for color adjustments. I think it was just color I changed. Let me do a reset. Is it just color I changed? Yeah, 4200. Color and sharpening. Sharpen. I always sharpen in RAW. And then maybe did I take the exposure down a little bit? Maybe the exposure down a little bit. And that would be probably the extent of what I would do. So, and you can see the eyes are pretty sharp. They could be sharper. I could also go up. I could have gone up to 1/500th of a second, and I could have pumped my ISO. Again, I'm so used to not doing that. So these are things I have to break those habits. They're habitual, right? You get so used to shooting one way, and it's hard to come out of that. So I need to set a new setup and really follow that. So this one again. Go back out, go back in. I like it. I like the light. It's very pretty, very soft, very easy light. I like the shadows. Yeah, so that's it. Then I tried like a quick beauty setup. So the same big umbrella, I have it facing straight on to the model, and then I just put a reflector below, so clamshell with a reflector below, and you can see that in her eyes. You can see the big umbrella on top and the reflector below. She's actually holding the reflector with her hand here because it's not one of those try ones, which easily hold out on their own. And again, very nice, simple, pretty light. I didn't set up the beauty dish, so that'll be something to see, the difference between the beauty dish and this light. And then you can see the difference in color in the background with more light hitting the background. And then you could also see the vignetting more. The corners, that is all the vignetting from the 85mm, and I really never noticed that before. This is actually my favorite shot from the shoot, but like the camera said the flash settings were completely wrong, and it was just like off the cuff, and I try to save it a little bit, but it's not really that, like the highlights right here are so super bright on the arm. But I love this photo. If I could do photos like this, like portraits like this all the time, I'm loving this. Like low key, I do like this. It's a little bit dark in the background, which I did buy a background, so hopefully that will alleviate how, you know, dark a black background looks. But yeah, I like this. And then in the end, because it's what I know, I went to my high key setup. Although what I'm also realizing is I don't love the window blown out so much anymore in the background. I actually prefer when I take more of a, I shoot more towards this main wall. So I'm standing way over here and shooting back this way. And that way I get less of the wall. So that's partially a space issue in my apartment. But I actually prefer it when I'm getting less of the window and more of just the wall. So I'm going to work on that as well. And Shelly, you'll recognize this shot. Oops, get out of there. You recognize this shot. This is a Sue inspired shot, and I showed her the reference photos, and she was just laughing. We thought it was just so silly, but it's the booty shot. But I like that it's the booty shot, but because she was laughing hysterically, and it was just like the ridiculousness of it. It really was more of a spontaneous and nice feeling. So yeah, I went to the easy stuff, which is what I know how to do, high key. Yeah, that was it. That was my shoot. So yeah, lessons learned. I got to learn a little bit more about E-TTL. And I gotta really focus on doing a shoot where I stay outside of my regular box and really pick something and work with one thing. I think I would like to do that, work with one light at a time and really learn how to use that light and then go from there. Yeah, so that is it. These are all my faves. And yeah, all right, bye.